So, this is my first time presenting in not in my own company or organization, so bear with me, I'm going to make mistakes, we'll live, not going to be a problem. And if we have a live demo which includes the internet, which has been spotty, so we can see what happens. I can talk about around it. So, hi, I'm Tom. I'm contributor and contractor with Mozilla for some time, and I'm going to talk to you about Global Consent Manager. It's a tool, a project, and prototype for exploring how to better work with GDPR compliance dialogues across websites on the internet. So it's a project between Mozilla, University of Nebraska, University of Ohio, and Reynolds Journalist Institute, which are all interested in moving beyond the current status, which is, as we all know, not great. So we are in Europe, so I'm going to guess everyone is familiar with GDPR, right? And the thing that concerns us most on this talk is about the consent dialogues across the websites that have to ask before tracking or actually keeping any personal info about the visitors, which includes spam protection or anything. So they all feel obligated to do it right up front and right when you first visit the website. And it's important for them to stay compliant with the GDPR. It's one complicated legislation, but by the end of the talk, we'll see that it doesn't have to be like a lose-lose situation for everyone. We are all familiar with these. And who has clicking I accept or I don't accept or something third that they don't even understand what they are clicking every time. So everyone is compliant all around the world. Companies even not in Europe are finding it easier to comply than to segregate their websites. Some of them, some are not. Segregate their websites for European consumers and non-European. So basically, if you live on planet Earth, GDPR applies to you, and you're affected in some way. So what's the issue with GDPR? It says that you have to get meaningful consent from a person before tracking or keeping any kind of personal information about them. If that means that how does the consumer decide to give trust to them, to the website, right up front when they first see the dialogue? They don't have enough information to know, do they trust this website to give it consent to track them or to personalize their ads or whatever. So even the industry, the Interactive Ad Bureau is an industry organization that deals with online advertising. They have a proposal for standardized GDPR compliance, and they're working on a common consent cookie bit and cookie string that has that would be transferable from website to website. That would be common way to interpret what does consent mean when you click I agree or I don't give consent. What does that mean in each site? And they are doing this to actually help smaller businesses be in compliance with GDPR, so that you don't have to hire lawyers for each and every business. Each and every business have to hire lawyers to interpret what does complying with GDPR mean. It's a first good step forward, but it has flaws, it has downsides. It's mostly concerned with protecting the industry and not with protecting the users and informing the users and giving them a way to give meaningful consent. So we are proposing, we are going to work with the industry to propose better solutions, and that would be what Global Consent Manager comes in. This is a tool for now, which is a prototype for research purposes, and also useful for regular users in Europe and across the world. That is able now to give you a glimpse of what potential future for consent dialogues and GDPR compliance might be in the future. It's like a regular add-on on the add-ons on the Firefox add-on store. You can just search for it, install it. It's like fairly simple. The idea is the bigger issue, the implementation. I'm going to talk about the implementation later, but this is mostly built for a prototype for research purposes for now, and to be useful for users at the same time, and hope to bring something meaningful to the industry as a standard for later. So, how is it good for you? If you ever clicked without, just when you get a link to a website, that's a news story, it's the first time you visit the website, you don't really care to interact with it on a meaningful level. You just want to read the article that you got linked, right? So you, mostly, as most users, if you're privacy conscious, you try to find the usually hidden option to not, I don't consent, but still give me a way to view the website. If you're, as most users, you're just going to hit the most bright green or whatever button and click accept. You don't have to mean it, obviously. They don't know that they have legal protection that you clicked it, and everyone is happy except that you gave consent when you didn't mean to, or you spent like 5 minutes looking for the option to not give them consent. What's worse, some websites, I'm gonna name names, like The Verge or some other websites don't even have an option to not give them consent and still read the articles. They're gonna keep bugging you. They're gonna keep asking you for consent on every single web page until you say yes. So basically, every page that you read constantly has the bar underneath, and you're annoyed and you're not productive, and even worse, things happen. So, I'm going to attempt a live demo now. The idea behind the basic idea is to only present a consent dialogue once a user has a meaningful relationship with the website. What does that mean? If you are visiting a website for the first time, you don't know if you trust them. You don't know if you want to give them consent to keep a cookie on you or whatever. You don't know who they are, and you can't actually decide. The only thing you can decide is to click no, or if you don't care, you can smash that button and get to the content. So, if you visit a website regularly, it makes sense that after you have a relationship, you know who they are, you know the brand, you are able to meaningfully understand when they ask you, we will use these cookies to personalize ads for you, or remember your preferred language or topics or whatever they are using cookies that they need consent for. You're gonna be able to understand what they're asking, and you're going to be able to meaningfully give that consent. How does that work? I'm going to try a live demo. Hopefully it works. Oops. Mm-hmm. Since we are in Belgium, this is one of the websites that we support from. I'm not even sure what the website is. I don't speak the language. This is how it looks without in the normal way. And you go to the Firefox add-ons, search for Global Consent Manager. Add Firefox, or in my case, enable it. And on the next visit of the website, voila, you get regular, normal website. You don't get bothered. You haven't given consent. This is the important part. You haven't given consent. They are not tracking you right now. They don't know anything about you yet. They are not. You don't have information. And what does it do? It says right here, on the status. This is the status page. This is a managed site. This means that we know about this site. And first visited today, not trusted. This means that we don't know this. We haven't seen you visit this site. The extension keeps track of the sites you visit. It's not going to start trusting the website just by 5 times refreshing the page. But if you visit a site on 5 different days, that seems like something that you might be interested in the future. And until then, it's going to block the consent dialog from showing up. That works for, we have like 100 websites that we support for the most popular news and similar websites across Europe and the world. And we are adding any new popular website that users are requesting in this prototype stage. How does it actually work? It works in 2 ways. It either sets a cookie for you automatically to indicate to the website, I'm not consenting to tracking. So if you visit a website, some of the websites support something like this, that they are well-behaving websites. You can set a cookie. Instead of you navigating and finding the button to click I don't consent, we do it for you when you visit the website right away until you have a meaningful interaction with the website. You get prompted after 5 visits, after 5 days of visits. It could be over a month. It could be every single day for a week. You get actually presented from the extension allows the website to ask you for consent right there. Before there, you can manually allow the website to ask you for consent, or you can, after the extension allows it to ask you, you can manually deny it. So you're basically always in control. You can keep the dialogue showing, prevent them from showing. You can give the trust. You can answer the question. You can. I'm gonna guess the green button does the thing that they want me to do, and that's basically. It's fairly simple. So that's the well-behaving websites. Not all websites. In fact, most websites are not well-behaving. They don't have a simple cookie-based way to indicate that you do not consent. So in that case, we use simple CSS to hide the consent dialogues. It's a little hacky, but, well, it works. So that's how the extension for now works. So as I said, let me go back. This is you can see probably more clearer what it looks like when you first visit a website, first visited today, not trusted, and you have always an option to manually allow them to ask you for consent, and you can give it, you can deny it, you can do whatever after that. Those are the 3 meaningful states. It's first visited, previously visited, so that's when you've been there, we know that you've been there, but not yet in fully trusted state. And after currently it's set, this is a prototype. We have other ideas. For example, if you write a comment on a website, we could use that as indicator that you want to interact with the website. That could trigger a trust. There are other ideas. that we might implement later. But the general idea is that the browser, or in this case extension, but the end goal is for the browser to do this for you. If we can agree on the standard with publishers, for browser to manage that for the users and for the websites, it can create a better environment for everyone. Why do I so confidently saying that? Because we did a user study with extension for regular users browsing news websites. I think it was done in Ohio, so US residents. And this is the right one, is obviously the one with the web. Users are more likely to stay on the website longer, to visit more web pages. We're not bombarded with the consent dialog right away. They are likely to, after, have a meaningful relationship with the website if they do, and later you can, the site can ask them for consent. And the extension currently, and in our proposal for the future, the browser manages that for you. It keeps track of sites that you trust. They lets them ask you for consent, and so we have. This is it. If you can learn more about on the global web, we have a website with lots of how-tos. It goes in details how it works, how you can set it up the way you like. It has some background info on GDPR basics, and it has the user study that I just cited. It's listed on the website, and that's it. I'll take questions. This is all dry information. This is not a fun thing to talk about like Marionette or like HTTP3 from Daniel, and it's hard to follow. But I've run to it. I'll take questions, and if you don't manage to find me later, I'm happy to talk.
Thank you so much. So, anyone have any questions? Okay, perfect.
So how do you care not to get like any ad blockers? Website will inform you disable ad blockers if you want to visit our website.
Yes, that's one of the possible venues. We strictly try to keep it separated. Showing ads is still important for the website to maintain their financial situation and to be able to. So we've kept this this issue separate from blocking ads, but that's one of the possibilities for later for well-behaving web for browser to do that for you, to let the well-behaving websites show you ads, and those the ones that don't obey any rules, that do not track, that don't obey, don't behave well, it's possible that we could go into blocking their ads automatically, or even worse things like blocking trackers, which Firefox is doing independently of all this. So I think that does it answer.
And what about the data you catch? How often or how regularly I visit the website? Do you catch it locally at my browser?
Yeah, that's the extension. It just saves like a date, and for the first 5 dates because it doesn't want to count 5 visits on the same date. So it just saves the date for each website that you visited it last, and when it is a new date, it increases the count by 1. When it reaches 5, it stops counting. It's minimal information needed to implement the feature. Hopefully, if we reach a standard for among industry, the browser can do this. You already trust the browser. Browser has the history for you, and it can do even better. But currently, it is minimally data invasive way for you to actually provide the feature for you.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, I have a question. I believe, so if I understand correctly, when you need to add a new site, you just need to have the technical way with the cookie to say that you refuse tracking. There is no contact with the site itself. So for example, if I want to add one website which is not currently supported, how would I proceed? proceed?
We have a GitHub page. You just open an issue and list the website. And if you are interested in the details, you can investigate yourself when selecting I don't consent and see what cookie it sets. You don't have to do that. We can do it if you don't know how to do it. But you report the website. We're gonna, if you are inclined, you can do it yourself and report what it does. We accept pull requests as well. So it's just a list of websites and the rule to either set CSS or to set the cookie for now. It's fairly simple, it's fairly explanatory, and that's how we do adding for this purpose.
Yeah, but you will need a new release to make it available for everyone?
We've been talking about automatically updating, but so that's possible in the future, so, you know.
Any other question?
We have in the first one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So currently, I use an ad blocker to block these things.
Okay.
What would be the benefit for me to switch to this extension? Are there like any edge cases, or does the site behave differently when I'm using this extension compared to normal ad blocker that just hides the notification?
When you say you use the ad blocker, does it hide all the consent dialogues for you? Well, ad blockers.
Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, ad blockers are not meant for that. Some that do that, it's mostly by accident. It's not their main purpose. And the second, so this is specifically tool for that. So it's going to work better for this. You can use it with an ad blocker. It doesn't interact with each other in any way. So ad blocker blocks ads and tracking scripts. This blocks consent dialogues. What's the benefit for you for using this instead of an ad blocker? Depends on if you care about the websites showing you ads and everything. This just lets you be less annoyed by all the dialogues, but still allow showing the ads in case either not targeted or targeted after you give consent. So if you care about journalism getting financed and reading good journalism and fake news and everything, that's a goal. I don't have to go into that story, but that's one of the reasons why you would use this instead of fully blocking ads for the website.
So basically it's more ethical, is that what you're saying?
It's
more ethical, because I will see ads, but I will not be tracked.
I don't want to get into ethics. I want to say it's more practical because this is how we get journalism financed more. This is in the interest, as I show in the research, this is in the interest of the industry as well. So we believe it's a win-win situation for everyone. If we can get to this is obviously just a prototype manually doing this. This does not scale. We can do 1,000 most popular websites, and that's going to cover a lot, but it doesn't scale. So we believe everyone wins if we implement something like this on the browser level as a standard across websites. So that's the goal. So.
Okay, any other question? Okay, this is the last one.
This still assumes that the server side is well behaving.
The service?
That if you declare you don't want to be tracked and the server says, okay, I hear you, but I'm going to ignore you,
yes,
you can't help that.
Yes, we have laws for that. Nothing. You can go all full blocking for yourself, but that has other issues. You break things. You don't let them finance themselves. This is mostly meant to handle the mainstream use case. So a big website that has a brand that wants to interact with users in a meaningful and trusted way to build trust. So this is meant for, Firefox has anti-tracking for the other cases. And it's slightly related, but it's not exactly, anti-tracking is not meant for those websites that have brands and want to preserve it and don't want to do shady stuff. So this is meant for that part. The anti-tracking doesn't need to touch New York Times and the Register or stuff. Hopefully, that's the world in which I would like to live in. So that's what we are working on. Just to say, I don't think I've said, I'm not usually the person who presents these things. I'm a developer for Mozilla, and I was technical support for this website. Most of the idea and research and everything was done by these institutions below. So Mozilla, I believe Don Marty at Mozilla was the original idea. University of Nebraska, Omaha, and University of Missouri with Reynolds Journalism Institute are doing the heavy work on this. I'm like a technical monkey, but I also believe in the project, so that's why I'm here presenting to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tomislav. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So.